Hello. Thank you, Sheila, for asking me to come and speak. My name is Troy Mattingly, and I am the director of the Way to Recovery down here in Springfield on 130 East Main Street. We're right across from Springfield State Bank. We've been here in Springfield for a little over 2 years now, and we do a wide variety of things. But since this is the Youth Coalition, I want to mainly focus on what we do with the youth. We do have adolescent services that we provide, and the services we provide are for addictions of all types. Most of us focus on alcohol and drugs. That's what we think about when we think of addictions. But there are hundreds of addictions out there, but they are the most prominent and the ones that cause the most destruction. We generally, the ages that I deal with here, I don't go under the age of 15 generally. Sometimes I can go a little bit, but generally under the age of 15, we refer out. 15 and above, we can deal with just about anything. We can provide all types of services, inpatient or outpatient. Give you a little background on addiction and how it affects the community that you live in here. Addictions doesn't care about your income or your social status, your geographic location, your age, your gender, your education, your upbringing, or your race. It destroys everyone it comes in contact with, not only the user. Your children today are growing up in a society like none that we've ever seen before. There's things out there today that wasn't even heard of 5 years ago. Drug use is rapid. It is unreal right now today with youth. I'm not talking adults or young adults. I'm talking about young children in our community are addicted to drugs. And it's probably a whole lot worse than what you even believe that it is. There's children out there today getting addicted at the age of 12, and it's not uncommon. You know, it's truly not. We're seeing people, we're coming in contact with teenagers from the 12 to 15 age range more and more every day. It's in the high schools. Drugs are running rapid through the high schools today. Just in Marion County, I know probably about a month ago, they brought the canine unit in up there, and they cleared house, and it was amazing what they found, and it's amazing how much that they found right there on the school. The hottest things going right now for the young children, of course, is marijuana. Everybody's doing marijuana, but marijuana is not what everybody wants. Marijuana nowadays, you know, if you think back to where most of us in here got a little age on us, like me, back in the day, marijuana was the thing going. Now it's what they'll do when they can't get what they want. The things going now are prescription pills. They're the hottest thing going. Prescription medication, especially the opioids and the barbiturates, they are the hottest thing going. Spice is starting to run like water through Marion, Washington, Taylor, and Nelson counties right now. Spice is a synthetic drug. In some places, it's legal to buy right out of your convenience stores. A lot of places, more than you think. The state of Indiana, you can go anywhere and get it. Most of the places in Kentucky have outlawed it now, but they found 5 high school kids with spice on their possession when they brought the canine unit in. Spice is something that they use because they have found, or they think that it's undetectable on drug tests. It's not for us. We can test for it. No one else can, not even your hospitals can test for it. Heroin is a great big thing with teenage kids. Now they're not only doing just heroin, they're mixing heroin with fentanyl. Fentanyl is one of the most powerful pain medications on the market. That and Opanas. I don't know if you've ever heard of those or not, but they're for terminally ill cancer patients. It's like liquid morphine. It's morphine in a pill. Instead of taking hospice home with you, they can send you home and you take one of these pills and you die slowly, comfortably. And you don't have to have people coming in and checking on you. These kids are getting a hold of this stuff. Methamphetamines is running real big, crack cocaine, and then alcohol. Alcohol is at the end of the list. These are the way I've said them is the way that they're showing up. Alcohol is at the end of the list. Now, back in our day, that would have been the forefront. You know, when Alcoholics Anonymous came out, you didn't even hear of Narcotics Anonymous at that time. People didn't use drugs. Like you say, a little marijuana, but everybody thinks marijuana, there's nothing wrong with marijuana. Marijuana is an illegal drug. You know, and I know there's a lot of people that thinks that, you know, we should just go ahead and legalize it. Hey, let's capitalize on it. You're stupid and ignorant if that's the way that you think. And if I've offended somebody here today, I'm sorry, but I know better. I know better because I see it. It's a gateway drug. If your child smokes marijuana, they have a 99% chance that they're going to try something else. It's going to happen. So don't think that marijuana is not a harmful drug, because it will open the door to everything. We provide services for these adolescents that have these problems. We provide inpatient treatment. Now, parents are the last to know about addictions. The very last to know. You think you know your kid better than anybody, you're wrong. The people your kids are running with know them better than you. You're going to be the last one to know that your kid has a problem. Parents today don't even know how to look for the problems in their children, because the way that things have advanced, the technology, you know, we've all got these cell phones, Facebook, the computer games, the games that they play, the Xboxes and all that stuff. Today when kids come home from school, they go to their room and shut their door and you don't see them. Parents don't think nothing about it. Oh, they're just in there playing the video games, or they're in there on their phone. They don't think nothing of it. If your child comes home and shuts themselves in their room, there's something wrong. Parents today, we don't sit around the table anymore and have a meal together and ask our kids what's going on, because, you know, parents are working. We got 2 parents in the home working, and they don't have time a lot of times to come home and fix that good meal at the end of the day, and everybody gets home at 5 o'clock and we sit down and we eat. It just doesn't happen much anymore. So we don't have any conversation with our children like we should. We take them and we drop them off, you know, to their school activities. A lot of times we just take them and drop them off. We know in an hour or 2 hours we go back and pick them back up. You don't know what they're doing in between that time. A lot of parents are shocked that they find out when they drop them off, their kids leave. Their kids have been playing a sport for half the season and they haven't even been there. And their parents think they're on the team, because the parents don't have time to come back, watch the games or anything else. The people there on the fields don't have time to keep up with them. They got all these other ones to watch for. I mean, you really need to pay attention to what your kids are doing. We have outpatient services. The inpatient services are the ones that are, by the time you find out they've got a problem, it's too late as parents. By the time a parent finds out that their kid has a serious problem, they are addicted at that point. And that's scary. That's really scary. So we provide inpatient services for those that they can go in and stay from 30 days to 18 months. And we also have the facility that they can do their schoolwork and everything right there. You know, we can take care of all that. We have a young man from this area, a junior in high school now in Winchester in that program. We have outpatient services, is what mainly we deal with here in Springfield. We have a day patient program that we provide curriculum for. It's like an after school, during school, and when school's out during the summer, they can come down and they can spend up to 8 hours a day there, and we can treat them there if it's not too bad. We have what we call intensive outpatient programs, where they come in for maybe 2 hours a day and then take home their stuff. And we provide the family with enough literature and try to teach them what to do with their children when they get these problems. We also provide family services, and this is the key. These family services, if you have a child that has a problem, there's a problem in your family, whether you know it or not. Whenever you find out that there's an addiction problem in your family is going to start to fall apart quick. Because addiction does not affect only the user, It affects everyone in that house. Now you've got a problem as a parent that you know nothing about and you don't know how to deal with. And the first thing the parent does is freak out. Oh my God, what are you doing? You come down on them. You know, you ain't paid no attention to them for the last 5 years. They go to the room, shut the door, and that's where they're at. And now all of a sudden you're up in their face wondering what they're doing and why they're doing it. You know, that doesn't work with them. It's not going to work with them. What we want to do and what we can do is educate you on how to deal with your child now that they have this problem. We offer programming down there for that. We have a concerned persons group is what we call it, and we educate the families of those addicted so they can better deal with and understand what their child is going through. Because as parents, we just say, why don't you just quit? It's not that easy. They can't just quit, and that's the problem. They're never going to be able to quit on their own, and they're going to need as much support as they can from their family to do this. It's staggering what's going on in your community today, and I'm sure, you know, we've got some people here from DCBS. They know that this drug problem is crazy right now. You know, there's children being removed from homes on a daily basis because their parents are addicted. If the child is over the age of 10 years old, it's very possible that that child has probably already used drugs in that home because they see mom and daddy doing it. And I know you think that's crazy at 10. It was only a year and a half ago that somebody brought a 10-year-old individual to the facility that we have in Jamestown. And they brought it down there. The mom and dad were in jail already, looking at prison time. The kid was found in the room, and it was just an act of God that they found the kid. They found the kid in the room passed out with a needle in his arm. 10 years old. Mom and boyfriend shot up with heroin. Whenever you do that, you shoot up with it, you black out for 15, 20 minutes right afterward. They blacked out. The 10-year-old had seen them do it enough that when they blacked out, he did it. Shot it up, and he blacked out. It's a wonder it didn't kill him. Like I said, it was by the grace of God this child didn't die. So these kids are smarter than you think they are. If they see a parent growing up, if they see a parent drinking or smoking anything, 99% chance they're going to try it. Now, whether they continue to do it or not is a different story, but they will try it. So be careful what you do around your children because they want to be just like you. They want to do what you do. They want to be an adult. And if they think this is an adult thing, this is what they're going to do. I'm going to give you a few statistics because everybody likes statistics. And this is what's going on in our youth today. 30% of teens are offered drugs while in high school. 30% of it. That means if 10 of you set up and I set 7 of you down, 3 of you, 3 out of 10 people in here, your children are presented with drugs in high school. Somebody's going to offer it to them. 3 out of 10. More than 33% of teens have had sexual intercourse while in high school. They've had sexual intercourse because they're hiring a kite and they can't make a good decision for themselves anymore. 33% of it. Now that's even going higher. Now we got about 3.5 of everybody in here, your high school teen is having sex in high school and experiencing drugs. There's a young lady here in Springfield right down the road that we pick up on Wednesday night for our youth at church. We've been having sexuality classes, pre-dating, teen sexuality classes at church for 12 years old to 15 years old. And I know people are looking at me like, that's too young to be talking about that kind of stuff around kids that are 12 years old. You're crazy. They're not. It may have been 50 years ago, but today it ain't. At 13 years old, this girl broke down last week in there, and she's already having sex at 13 years old. And she's smoking marijuana. And that's crazy. But that's here in Springfield. 33% of them are having sexual intercourse. There are 4 million reports of STDs by teens every year. This is in the state of Kentucky. The United States. 4 million in the United States STDs every year. And a lot of these are repeats. More than one, the same person coming in more than once with an STD. 4 million. 51% of the parents don't have monitoring software for their teens. If you have computers at home and you don't have a monitoring device on it, you better get it. Because if you think she ain't on there searching around or he ain't on there searching around, you're wrong. I mean, you're very wrong. We had a girl the other day come in, 14 years old. She got online at her mom and daddy's house right there in front of them. They weren't even paying no attention. Kids are slick. Don't think they're just smarter than you give them credit for. She met up with a 19-year-old boy in Tennessee, and she had went out with him 3 times, and the parents hadn't even known it. He had come from Tennessee to pick her up, and they were staying in a hotel room. The parents thought she was staying the night at a friend's because that's where the parents dropped her off at. The parent that they dropped her off with had no idea where she was. Well, she was at the hotel room. She told the boy that she was 16. The boy was 19, and that's where they got caught. You know, we really need to monitor what our children are doing because you don't know what they're doing on that computer. And there are sick people out there that will suck your young children in. 41% of teen girls are pressured to be mean to others. 41% of teen girls are being pressured to be bullies today. And this is teen girls. The statistics is higher in girls than there are boys. And you would think that, but it is. It's only like 27% for boys. Teen girls, 41% are pressured into being bullies. 44% of girls are being pressured to lie, steal, and cheat. Guess who they're being pressured from? Their addicted boyfriends are pressuring them in to lie, steal, and cheat so they can get money for their drugs. Now, this is teens now. I'm telling you, this ain't adults. Parents, you have the strongest influence over teens when it comes to peer pressure. It's got to start in the home. We have to start teaching our kids in the home about this stuff. They look up to you, and you're the only ones they're going to listen to. They're not going to listen. They're getting peer pressured on a daily basis. I want to share something else with you real quick, then I'll go to some questions if anybody has any. There's no way I can get in 15, 20 minutes of what all is going on out here, and I'm trying just to hit some things that are going on in this community with young people the best I can. Research Center in Louisville says that there were 824 hospitalizations for infants with neonatal abstinence syndrome in 2012. 824. That's up from 678 in 2011. This is babies being born addicted to drugs. Along with the rise in infant hospitalizations has come a similar increase in the charges for these hospitalization stays. In Kentucky, which reached $40.2 million in 2012. That's up from $200,000 in the year 2000. The government-funded Medicaid paid a total of $34.9 million of that expense. Y'all know where that comes from, don't you? It comes from you. These people in there having these babies are from the age of 18 under. Having these kids that are addicted to drugs. The JAMA study found that national health care costs for addicted newborns are also soaring from $190 million in 2000 to $720 million in 2009. That's drastic. And these are teenage kids. Drug-dependent babies stay on an average of 16.4 days in the hospital at a cost of $53,400 per infant. Per infant. There were 1,031 drug overdose deaths in 2012 in the state of Kentucky. 1,031 drug overdose deaths in 2012. Heroin contributed to over 129 of them. And that's up from 42 from the year before. 37% of those heroin overdoses was from people 18 and under. Benzodiazepines are the primary drugs involved in Kentuckians today. Inpatient hospitalizations in 2012 are accounting for 1,686 because of benzodiazepines. These are prescription medications. That all came out of the Lebanon Enterprise out of this Wednesday's paper, this past Wednesday. That's in Kentucky that this is happening. There's a hot spot in Kentucky. It's what we call a hot spot in our business. In the state of Kentucky, the hot spot is Marion, Washington, Taylor, and Nelson. 73% of all drugs come from that spot. Crazy, ain't it? You would think it would be Louisville, Lexington. No, they get it from us. This is where they get it from. They're coming here to get it. You know why? Because we're known for the marijuana. You know, the THC I mentioned before that doesn't really do that much damage. We grow it like gardens around here, so we can trade it to get anything we want and bring it back here, then everybody comes to us. You know, we're the suppliers. Your teens and your kids are being introduced to this stuff on an alarming rate. I'm sure the statistics are higher than what they know because, like I said, it's usually a couple of years before anybody even knows that a person has a problem because they hide it for so long. With that, I've gave you a lot of information, a lot of statistics. Now, if you've got any questions, is there time for a few questions?
For a few.
Okay. And I'll be here, I'll hang around at the end if you need to talk to me afterwards. Has anybody got a question?
I don't have a question, but the THC is, it's a lot more potent today than it was years ago.
Yeah. Oh,
A
yeah.
whole lot more.
And they're lacing it with stuff today. They're lacing it with other things today. So kids today that are smoking marijuana may be smoking something more than marijuana and they don't even know it. Anyone else?
I want to spice that in these counties.
Spice has made its appearance in the last year is when it's really come up. And it's cheap. It's really, really cheap to get. Spice is something that you're going to be dealing with. We're going to see a lot of it. Like I said, it's starting to run like water.
How do they use spice?
They smoke it.
Okay, that was similar to my question. What does it look like? You know,
It looks,
It's about 800 times more than marijuana, too.
yeah, it looks like ground up marijuana, kinda. It's a powdery substance, and they smoke it out of a bong. They'll make homemade bongs. All they need is a piece of hose, a gas line, clear tubing, an old empty oil can, empty beer can, empty Coke can, empty pop bottle. It doesn't make any difference. In about 5 minutes, they can make one and they can smoke it. It smells a little bit like marijuana when it's burning, but it is nothing like marijuana. It is deadly. People are dying from this stuff after one use. Spice causes paranoid schizophrenia, and it's permanent. It's irreversible. You know, and we're finding that can only take one time that occurs. And we're finding that 3 to 6 months, if somebody's using it within just for 3 to 6 months, they'll have unrepairable damage. Your kid's going to be freaking out for the rest of its life.
when you say it's legal in Indiana, how is it packaged? Or, I mean, and how can it be legal?
It's not legal here.
It's not legal here
I know
in Indiana, but it is in Indiana.
Right.
And I'm thinking maybe they've got all of the state of Kentucky now to where it's not legal. That's just happened. Just a year ago it wasn't. They were still trying to get it illegal here. It's packaged in a little pack along with the bath salts. We didn't even talk about that. They come in little packages just like you would buy some seeds for your garden. They come in a little pack like that, and it's got little funny names on them. It's sold as incense, is what they try to market it as incense. And why? It doesn't smell good at all. Like I said, it smells like marijuana, kind of. But that's how they market it, as incense. They market the bath salts as bath salts. You know, you pour it in your bath water. Well, they're not putting it in their bath water. They're smoking it. And it causes the same damage. It's synthetic. It's synthetic made. There is no regulations on it. You don't know what you're going to get from one pack to the next. You could buy one day, and the next day you go in and buy it, and it'll be 50 times more potent than that one because it's not monitored. They're just throwing it in a thing and selling it.
Now, is it still sold in smoke shops?
Well, not in Kentucky.
Okay.
Not in Kentucky. The bath salts, but in Indiana now you still can. And I don't think you can in Tennessee anymore. But, you know, we see people coming in. I have people coming in from Kentucky that just in here in Springfield, in Marion County through the courts, that are getting spice and they're ordering it through the mail in Indiana. I mean, that's how they're getting it.
And some of those
It's mail
guys,
order.
Yeah, they'll put on there like, what is it? They put like it meets Kentucky regulation or something like, so you think it's okay.
So you think it's all right.
Change one ingredient,
Yeah.
that's how they
Right.
get about the law.
That's how they keep repackaging it.
Right.
They'll take one thing off the market and they'll just change one name and they put it right back up on the market and sell it as something different. And it's not, it's the same thing. These bath salts cause the same kind of problem. It causes paranoid schizophrenia. It's irreversible, and you can OD with just one use of it. I mean, this doesn't take long term. People are dying daily from this spice and these bath salts. And parents don't, I mean, you really need to watch your kids, because if you're not, you know, now these bath salts, you can smoke it and it's almost undetectable as far as smell goes with that. And they're crushing it up and snorting it too instead of smoking it. So, I mean, it's literally undetectable by you if you just don't catch them doing it. But when they go in and they shut themselves in their rooms all the time, it's not normal for a child to separate itself from its family all the time. There's something going on. You need to be aware of what they're doing. Anything else? Any other questions? Yes.
I have a question about the drug dogs. I don't know, it's been some time since we have been Washington County, but I was thinking there was a charge to get the dogs to come in. Is there a fee with that? And if
I don't
so,
know.
I wouldn't think so.
I don't think so.
I
Sure,
don't.
law enforcement.
I've never heard it. I know. Just about any time you drive by Marion County High School, you're going to see a cop car sitting out in front of it. They patrol up there on a pretty regular basis, and I've never heard of a charge.
It was their local canine unit, or maybe out of Mercer County.
Now, Marion County has its canine unit. It has a canine unit, so I don't believe they charge for
And another
that.
question I had on the marijuana, getting the THC or whatever out. Have you ever heard of anybody boiling that?
Sure.
The THC, and then they inject it, or then they think if they smoke it, it's not harsh. I mean, I've only heard a little bit about that.
It's what's called hash. It's what we used to call hash back in the day, or hash oil. You can get the oil out of the marijuana just like you would anything else, like olive oil, or where there's a will, there is a way. I promise you. Where there's a will, there's a way. How they figure this stuff out, I have no idea. But yes, they can, and yes, it is more potent. You can they take the oil, and you can take a cigarette and take a toothpick and dip it in the oil and run like 3 stripes down a cigarette, smoke a cigarette, and get high. And it's kind of odorless. The cigarette will cover it up. So kids are smoking it at school today, and nobody knows. You know, going back and forth. I know in Marion County they have like the vocational school at the top of the hill. It's going on back and forth like crazy up there. You know, and it's hard to catch, because when they put the stuff in a cigarette, you know, they're smoking it, they're getting them for smoking a cigarette, but they don't really know what they're doing. It's hard to tell what they've got inside that cigarette. And that's how they mask it a lot of times, is through cigarettes, cigars, the blunts. You know, they've got aromas that they can mask it with that cover it up, that where people don't really know what they're doing. Any other questions?
Okay. Troy, thank you very much. A lot of good information. Thank you for coming and sharing.
Oh, we do also, one more thing. If you're a parent and you suspect your children, we do mobile drug testing.
Yeah.
Give me a call, we'll come to your house, and I can tell you what they ate for breakfast. And don't feel bad about trying to do that. Please know what your children are doing. It don't cost that much. At least you know what your child is doing. We provide that services for everywhere.